All right, I am Reverend T. I am the unrefined priest, and today we're going to talk about Church of England electing the new Archbishop of Canterbury. If you're unfamiliar with, if you're not, familiar with the Anglican Communion and the Archbishop of Canterbury, it is probably the most prestigious position that one can have in the religious life, kind of right under the Pope. I can't think of another position that is more prestigious in church life than the Archbishop of Canterbury. And if you are Anglican or in the United States, you are an Episcopalian, this is really big news. And the first the election of a new Archbishop of Canterbury is really a significant thing. Now, the person that was elected, her name is Sarah Mullally. Now, this is the first time that a woman is standing in the place of the Archbishop of Canterbury. I think that that's going to cause massive problems, particularly in the Anglican Communion. I'm not sure why we decided to go down that road, but that's the road that they went down. So, I'm going to play a clip for you. I think this guy summarizes his concerns about Bishop Mullally as the Archbishop of Canterbury pretty well. So I'm going to play it. It's very short, and then I'll share my thoughts on the other end.
There's a new Archbishop of Canterbury, everybody, and here's what you need to know about her. Firstly, it's a her. Sarah Mullally, former Bishop of London, first ever female Archbishop of Canterbury. Secondly, she's pretty pro-abortion. She said in her blog, "I suspect that I would describe my approach." By the way, that's the kind of moral clarity I want from a leader, not what my stance is or here's what is right, but just I suspect that I might describe my approach, brilliant start, to this issue as pro-choice rather than pro-life. Although if it were a continuum, I would be somewhere along it, moving towards pro-life when it relates to my choice and then enabling choice when it related to others. If that makes any sense. It doesn't. Thirdly, she led the Living in Love and Faith project aimed at liberalising the Church of England's stance on same-sex marriage and has also endorsed same-sex blessings. Furthermore, when she was asked how the Church would protect children from sexualisation and queer theory, she boldly remained completely silent.
What is the House of Bishops doing to protect children from that sexualisation at Pride or from queer theory? Thank you.
That does not relate to the original question, I'm afraid.
It does. It's about the Bishop's position on Pride, Chair, and whether they're protecting children from Pride. They should have a position and be able to tell me. Because you don't want to protect children and you dare not speak against Pride or queer theory.
Fourthly, when she was talking about women's ordination, she said that women continue to face microaggressions and institutional barriers before breaking down in tears, and the audience responded with rapturous applause. And no, I know that story sounds made up, but it just isn't.
The institutional barriers. We continue to experience microaggressions.
And finally, number 5, she was the Bishop of London who prevented Calvin Robinson, a black man, from being ordained within the Church of England because he didn't agree that the church was institutionally racist, which she insisted that it was. And then she, a white woman, refused to give a job to a black guy to prove that the church was institutionally racist, but which she was firmly against or something. It's weird. Anyway, here we go. There's a new Archbishop.
Oh my gosh, this is not good. I don't know where we're going. Let me break down these one at a time. But before I do, let me just share a couple positive things. Because first of all, she does, she seems like a very nice lady. And so there's that. The second thing is she did speak, I believe, against euthanasia. Fairly boldly, and so I think that's a great positive. Another positive is she's kind of boring, like in a good sense. where I know she has far left views, but she's generally not somebody who really pushes the agenda as much as other candidates could have or would have if they were elected. Although she is far left, she is not necessarily pushing far left as much as others would. She does have kind of a boringness to her that I don't know, maybe Jesus can work through. And the third positive that I have is, hey, look, at least she's not a Hindu or a Buddhist or a Muslim. And I do believe that those are real possibilities that could have come out of this. At least she is a professing Christian. That is the end of the good list that I have for you today. Let's get into the things that he brought up. One of the things that I have a really hard time with is that she is like full go, completely, it seems, taken by the worldly approach. She has bought into every aspect of where our world is going. And it would seem to me that if you were the church or you were representing Christ, that you should be, I don't know, different from the world. That the world should be able to do things that you say, no, we can't go there. But she has just kind of run with them in every area. So pro-abortion is certainly a problem for me. It should be a problem for all Christians. I don't know how you make that argument, but people do all the time, and so she is pro-abortion. Let's go. Of course, not for herself, but she wants other women to have the opportunity, which, you know, one of the things that he brought up was her answer was, I suspect that this would be my position. And yeah, we would like somebody who has more clarity of thought, somebody who can really argue for a position. And if you're so wishy-washy on everything, I don't know that you have what it takes to stand in place of the Archbishop of Canterbury, but we will see soon enough. She was a big proponent of LGBTQ marriage and blessings and the whole deal. So all of that will continue as it has. And so that is disappointing to me as well. One of the things that really struck me was in the clip that I showed you, when she started talking about women experiencing microaggressions. Look, I don't have any time for anybody who brings up microaggressions. There are real aggressions that are taking place. And if you're going to sit there and cry about microaggressions, then you probably don't have what it takes to stand in that spot. You need a strong leader that can stand there, that can handle some microaggressions. We all deal with microaggressions. I deal with microaggressions every time that I'm with other people. Like, that's just life. Like, deal with it. But if you're going to cry about it and then to gather up applause, I don't know. That just seems weird to me. One of my biggest concerns is the fracturing of the Anglican communion that I believe that this represents. The Anglican communion is rather large. You've got churches in Africa and churches all over the world, many of them which do not believe that women can actually be a priest, much less a bishop, much less the Archbishop of Canterbury. And so to have the Archbishop of Canterbury now be a woman seems like the Anglican communion has kind of like run its course. Like, I don't know where you go from here. It's kind of like when the Episcopal Church said, we're going to do same-sex marriages, knowing that large parts of the Anglican communion were against that, and we didn't speak to them before making the decision. We just said, yeah, we're doing it. We don't care. And that's kind of how it feels when you're electing the Archbishop of Canterbury to be a woman, when you've got this large group of Anglicans, part of the Anglican communion, that are like, we don't even think she should be a priest, much less the Archbishop of Canterbury. So to me, that's a big issue. Institutional racism in the church. I love the example that he gave, that she prevented a black man from becoming a priest because he did not agree with her on that. I don't agree with her on that as well. So I think that there are lots of problems with Sarah Mullally as the Archbishop of Canterbury, but it is what it is. And this is what we got. And it doesn't, I'm not down in the dumps about it. Was I hopeful that it might be somebody more conservative? Yes, but there was always the risk that it could have been somebody who less represents Christ, like I said, like a Hindu or a Buddhist or something like that. So you never know what you're going to get. But for me, it is, we carry on just as normal. And so I'm an Episcopalian, so I think it's more important in the actual Church of England than it is outside of the Church of England. So it's not a huge issue for me, but it's not something I'm excited about, but it's not something that ends my day either. I feel like, this is kind of what I expected. It should be what you expected as well, unfortunately, and we just continue on. And let me just say to the conservatives out there, because I know there are going to be conservatives that are questioning whether we pray for the Archbishop of Canterbury. Yes. Yes, you continue praying for the Archbishop of Canterbury, just like you continue praying for the president, whoever the president is, or the king, whoever the king is. You continue praying for your leaders, because prayer makes a difference. And I wish her the best. I hope that she's super successful in this position. I have my doubts about that, but I want to see her thrive, because her thriving is our thriving now, and that's where I will leave it today. Again, my name is Reverend T. I am the Unrefined Priest. If you like what I'm doing, hit that like button and the subscribe button, and I'll catch you on the next one.